Right. Well, Shinx, apologies for the
Hello.
delay, but
It's okay.
you've had ample time to kind of process your eviction. How are you feeling now?
Honestly, I'm kind of at peace. I've also just been distracting myself. Like the only time I really thought about it again is when I was in the shower and like my brain wasn't doing anything else. But I was like, I kind of already knew where this was gonna go from last night. Obviously, like since I got put up, well, since the video was used, since the video was won, I had a feeling of where this was all gonna go. And even though it looked like things might have gone my way, I never like got my hopes up because let's say my like status level is like an 80 right now. If I had like gotten my hopes up and then still left, it would have been like a 120 on a scale of 100. So I'm like, I'm at a fairly good place now. I've already handled it. I'm not really excited to go to jury because I don't know what Miranda and Ryan have been doing, and I don't really want to deal with that. But I don't really have a choice. So yeah, I'm good though. We'll just see how that goes.
Fair enough. So what happened with the veto con? We was all ready for you to come in and be sit down.
Okay, I did beast it down. I just got out beasted by 3 and 6 seconds apparently. And I'm still not exactly sure what went wrong. I know I could have been faster. Like maybe I took too long typing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe I like quickly had to glance that a competition was like spelled correctly. Because I did almost. I know I made like a few typos that I like fixed, but I was still like I did that in like a minute just about. So I really thought I was still in a good bubble. So I was very both surprised, disappointed, and also kind of impressed that I got beaten because I kind of thought I could have maybe used that to my advantage as I saw
Mm.
my pace to Jordan, but it didn't really work out. But I was like, yeah, I gave that my all. I still am not sure what went wrong, but it is what it is. I didn't win. I go home. And I knew that's probably what it was going to be once Aiden's name got pulled.
Yeah, you did really good. I mean, at the point like you did it like Jordan and Crow and them had all kind of went, and then you went, and then your score was like much better than theirs. And then Blaze and Aiden actually go after you, and then we were like surprised that they did just as good.
Yeah.
So unfortunate, but yeah. So before you're nominated, there is kind of talks of a plot of maybe Sammy should be a renomination in order to keep you safe. Kind of what went down with that.
Yeah. So Crow, like, I never expected Crow to do this. And when he brought it up, I was like, he's just blowing smoke up my ass. And then Sammy brought it up to me, and I was like, oh, really? But I was still like tempering myself because like ultimately, even if Sammy wants to, it's up to Crow. And like we've seen this on the real show before, like where Tyler wanted to like quit for Bailey and Davon, and Christmas is like, yeah, I'm not nominating you. Sorry. I was like, yeah, ultimately, like Sammy might want to go up for me, but if Crow doesn't want to put her up, then there's nothing I can do. And it was very hard for me to like argue because like any point to Crow that he made of like, hey, I don't think they're gonna save me, he could easily just take that and be like, if they're not gonna save you, why would they save Sammy? Why would I risk her? And so I was like, I knew it never made sense. Like I don't even, I know I would have voted to keep Sammy, but I don't know if she would have stayed at this point because my trust with the others was so frayed. I couldn't have told where they were gonna fall. And yeah, Crow is right. They probably would have taken the opportunity to break up the deal. I honestly think from what I know, I think she would have left, and it would have been stupid for both of them for her to volunteer and for him to do it. Which is why I never expected them to even like go through with it. But Sammy like seemed really eager, and apparently Blaze was like talking her out of it or something, and people was like, very adamant. So I was like, yeah, there's not much I can do here. Like, yeah, I didn't think it was gonna happen. I wasn't expecting it to happen. I was not shocked that it didn't happen. And it was more of anything of like me like trying to campaign early And Blaze and Jordan were like, "Oh, we don't know who Crow's gonna put up." And they were like halting my campaign time because I was like, "Guys, let's be serious for a minute. He's not putting her up. He can think about it all he wants. He's not going to do it. It doesn't make sense." And he didn't because it didn't make sense. And here we are now.
Right, fair enough. When you were on the block, you had a lot to say to all your different house guests. How did you kind of approach campaigning with each person?
Yeah, I figured that Aiden was already a lost cause to me because he, like, as he was telling me he's not using the veto, well, he's using the veto to try and force me up. That was like him signing my death certificate already. I'm like, yeah, Aiden's a lost cause. And then I thought about like trying to convince Blaze of anything, but I was like, at this point, I don't want to talk to him, and I don't even know if there's anything I could have said to make him want to keep me at that point because he knew the jig was up. Because, as I've mentioned in some of my voice threats, Blaze is a talker. Blaze is, as I say, he's a yapper, and yet between the time of the veto being won and him getting taken off, that like 2 3 hour window, he didn't talk to me at all after saying just the day before that I'm the only person he can talk to because everyone else is like busy and gone and boring and stuff. So I was like, okay, I don't have Blaze because if the as I like the chattiest motherfucker isn't chatting, like something's gone awry here. And so yeah, I like kind of figured he was a lost cause, and at that point I decided my best angle to maybe get Jordan to flip it and make it a tie was to just like sync Blaze's game to the best of my ability. Because I've seen a lot of cases where it's like to get people's votes, you need two people on opposing sides to vote the same way. And you have to like find an argument that makes sense for both of them. And that's kind of where my issue with Jordan was. I was like, yeah, Sammy and Crow have my back, obviously, and he clearly doesn't give a fuck about them. So I was still trying to sell it in a way of like, this is still good for you, da 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 da. Obviously, he didn't take the bait, as I tried and fought for like 12 hours, it felt like. And yeah, I was basically just trying to like convince him of logic of like, nobody's going to target Michael. Respectfully, the king isn't doing anything at this point. I feel like he's just a seat warmer. Maybe he's doing stuff behind the scenes. I don't know. The GVMs are gonna illuminate stuff for me, I hope. But from my perspective, Michael's just like busy all like he has a life, he has a job, I get it. But he's like busy all day, shows up at 6 p.m. for 10 minutes maximum, and then is gone again. And so I was just like, Jordan, he's not a reliable number. He's not a reliable competitor. Like, I've got your back and I can be an asset for you. Because even if Blaze and Aiden are pissed at you for keeping me, they're not going to target you for it. They're still going to target me. They're still going to want to break up Sammy and Crow before they even worry about you. And Sammy and Crow are like going to go after Blaze and go after Aiden. And I guess the logic he gave back to me, I called him out on it because he contradicted himself. He said he doesn't have faith in his own competition abilities and that he can't beat me. And I'm like, okay, how do you beat everyone else? And he's like, I have to just win. And I was like, so which is it? Do you have the confidence in your abilities or do you not? Like two things can't be true at once. And a lot of his counters to me weren't making sense. And I was trying to like keep my lid on because I still needed him to like want me to stay. And he didn't. So I was just like, okay, fuck it. I'm just scorching the earth a little bit. And I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And I hope he leaves. Not next. I want Blaze to leave next, but I hope Jordan follows soon after. Because there's something about like I don't like telling people I told you so, but it feels good, like a little bit. It feels good a little bit, and that's really what I want to see happen. And yeah, that's about all of that. I didn't think Aiden was gonna vote for me because he put me in that spot. I didn't think Blaze was gonna vote for me because he stopped talking to me. And part of my pitch was to sync him anyways. And then Jordan, I wrestled with for half a day to make no progress, basically, because I knew I had Sammy and I knew I had Crow in a tie. So I just like I put all focus on Jordan. It was very hard because he would show up for like 10 minutes at a time and then leave to play video games or something. Which, whatever. Anyways, yeah.
All right, fair enough. So let's take a look at some of your goodbye messages.
Okay.
1 second. You should see a text exit interview channel.
Okay.
So just stay on there because you won't have read history perms.
Got it. Can I like copy paste them into my DR or no?
We can paste them for you after if you
Okay.
want. All right. So this first one is from Aiden.
Oh boy.
Whoops. 1 second. All right.
None of this is true. This is all false. Wow, Blaze is in their heads. This is ridiculous.
Next is from Crow.
Okay. That's par for the course with Crow.
Next is from Sammy.
She better win. I swear to God.
Please. Next is from Michael. A bit of a lengthier one.
Oh boy. Okay. That was a good one. Good for Michael.
Next is from Jordan.
This is so fucking okay. The whole point of shields is that you get rid of them. And I don't know if you can do that. So whatever.
Okay, now Blaze wrote you probably the longest goodbye message we've ever had.
That's
So
not
I'm
though.
just gonna post it for the spectators to see it, but I don't really expect you to read and react to all of that right now.
Okay.
Oh, they're about go telling me X. Hold on. All right. Okay, that's all of it.
Okay.
Um, did you want to read that later, or are you reading it now?
I'm a fast reader. Jesus fuck.
Okay, no
Damn.
problem.
I just got to the middle and there's like half left. Okay. Okay. I finished.
Oh, wow. So, how do we feel about that one?
I just if regardless of if I wasn't clear or not, which I thought that I was, maybe I wasn't. I process things differently. Even if I wasn't, like, if you're supposed to be my number one, why not just ask straight up? Why not just like go for a direct answer? Or why not just say, hey, I don't want to do this? Like that's all he had to say. Like even if he like he saw how hard I was going, if all he had to say was, I don't want to do it, we could have talked about it. I wouldn't have tried to like I only did it because I thought you guys saw my DR. I was like even hesitating if I should try, but then I was like, okay, I think Glaze is on board, so yeah, why not? And like I even told him that my loyalty was with MLM. It was never like a Ryan thing. It was an MLM thing because that's like my conversations with Aiden and Jordan. They were good. They were never that good, and I knew they had like a call out line to tell me. That was never a surprise. I expected it. Like yeah, duh. And yeah, his even his excuse about the double eviction. I just I don't know. I don't have the words to process everything, but it's just like I understand how he got there, but I stand in the fact that like he didn't have to go there. Like there were other avenues that he did not have to take. Because to me, if I'm disagreeing with my one on one, my number one, we like talk about it and try to like be clear. If he's like I don't know. I'm just repeating myself now. Basically, if he had any doubts about it and I'm his number one, he should have just been able to say, "Hey, I don't think this is like." If I was at fault for insinuating it, so was he. I thought he was like listing like pros and cons about Ryan, and I was just listing my own like reactions to everything. So yeah, just yeah, basically that's all.
Fair enough. So, have any of these goodbye messages kind of changed your perspective on the game or the players?
um, not not really. Like Aiden is like just as I don't want to say clueless, but like as unaware as I thought because he like I don't know where this came from about this me and wanting to take out him and Jordan. I've never ever said that. Like outside of what trying to keep Ryan off the block, yeah. But I still would have voted out Michael in that episode if one of them went up. I just didn't want Ryan to go, and so either Blaze or Mira like ratted on me. At which point it's like and took my words out of context, which that's Big Brother. That's what you got to do sometimes. But yeah, like Jordan is just as delusional as I thought because if I'm going to comp out, what's Blaze going to do? If I'm not a good as Shield, how is Blaze not a worse Shield? Because he's done more than me and he's been more involved in the game than I have. Like, I don't know. It's just frustrating. But yeah, I think I'm still rooting for Sammy because I feel like I reserve the right to be bitter if my number one lied to me for 3 days straight for no reason. And that's that. He has to deal with that. I will. There is a timeline where I vote for him because I'm not that bitter, but I don't want to live in that timeline. So yeah, my stance on everyone remains as is. If I had to like vote right now, it'd be like Sammy, Crow, Michael, and then I get bitter and I go Aiden, Jordan plays. And I'm admitting I'm bitter. Maybe I'll heal in the like next 10 days where it gets to finale, but until then, I'm salty, I'm bitter, and I'm allowed to be.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask that next of kind of your Dre votes, but I guess that's that. Unless you want to elaborate a bit more why you'd vote in that order.
Yeah, Sammy, I know she and I were never like on the exact same page, and I definitely had her like low on my trust ranking and stuff, but I don't think there's ever a point in time where I was like, I want Sammy gone. And like even if Mira's HOH had like gone that way and the noms went as she intended, I wouldn't have voted off Sammy. I think I would have still gotten in trouble for maybe trying to mount a vote flip, but I think this one would have been like stalled a lot earlier because I don't have another like I don't have a Sammy and a Crow like duo vote. Like there's no one else I could even go to. Excuse me. So I think I probably like, let it go sooner. But I always wanted Sammy to stay longer than Crow to stay. And she did like when I was going through that rough time with my friend, like she went out of her way to like give me the immunity that she didn't have to do. Like, did I need it? Probably not. But she still like did that like kind thing for me. And I was like, okay, yeah. Like that. Like sometimes you just like can't let some of that stuff go, which is why I wanted her to stay so much. Which is why I even told Mira to her face that like I don't want Sammy gone. She did this thing for me. You have to deal with that. And so it's like that's just how I want to replace it. And also, like we taken out far too many women. Like if a girl can still win after all that, like claps, you know? And that's what I'm rooting for. Diversity. And then Crow and Michael would normally be at the bottom in most of my rankings, but again, I'm being bitter. And I'm also like giving them a chance. There's 4 rounds left to play still, and Michael is saying he wants to turn it up. So I'm like, okay, put your money where your mouth is, guy. You say you've got your free time back, so let's go. Let's see this super strategic person who came back as a tutor for a reason. Like, I want to see if you can live up to what he's trying to hype up to me right now. And then yeah, Crow has always been a man of like few words, and we never like. Obviously, I've wanted him gone for a lot longer than he probably knows. And in my ideal time, when he would have already been gone, but when it came down to it, he did have my back, and a lot of people can't say that. So I'm willing to like repay that favor to an extent because he still did nominate me, even though I expected it. And then of the three that I'm beefing with, Aiden is at the top just because even though he's like clearly misguided, he was like his mind was made up, which I respect. He didn't lead me on. He was just like, "Yeah, I want you out." And I can't be mad at him for not giving me a chance because I don't think I've given any nominees a chance except Malik, and even then, I was keeping Miranda, so I really didn't give him a chance. So I'm like, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And I guess I respect him more, or I'm like mad at him the least, I guess. And then Jordan, just the entire like campaign thing was ridiculous with him like fucking off for like an hour between messages and everything, and then just like going to sleep and me assuming he voted. And like I honestly thought I was gonna wake up to being evicted at that point because I thought he already decided. And so I was like, okay, he's still here at 12. I have a chance. And then I have like an hour trying to like swing him back. And he's like, oh no, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, what do you mean you're overwhelmed? When he saw the double eviction, you have 10 minutes to make a decision. Like if he wins one of these later HOHs or vetoes, he has to make a sole vote in less amount of time. He's gonna get a lot more words than I gave him. So if he can't like handle this pressure when he had a day to deal with me, he's not gonna be able to handle the power. He doesn't even think he's gonna win in the first place. And yeah, his arguments were contradictory. Like like I said, do you think you can beat them or do you not? Like which is it? And yeah, he pissed me off the most, honestly. Well, the most after Blaze, obviously, which we've already gotten into. I just think he could have handled that all better. And there is still a chance of over him. He will just have to work extremely hard for it. And he can feel bad. And we're still gonna be friends after this. Maybe, probably. Depends on how pissy I feel. But for the like, duration of this game, he's not dead to me, but like he can go stand in the corner. And if he makes final two, he can like beg and plead for my jury vote. I guess he has to earn it back. Because if you lie unnecessarily, you have to deal with that. You know? Yeah. And that's all.
Fair enough. And You have a fan question of how does it feel to continue the legacy of Black BBD players bombing?
First of all, I did not bomb. I was 6 seconds away from winning.
Let them
Honestly,
know.
3 seconds, 3 seconds away from Aiden going up instead of me. So it's Blaze's fault for not being faster more than it is mine. That's one. And two, I was robbed by a twist. If Jordan didn't get safety, I wouldn't have even been an option. He would have
Yeah,
gone up. So really, blame Grodner. Like, why'd y'all let the twist run to final seven? You should have ended it at the double eviction. I don't know. That's my take on
please. Well,
it.
really loved having you, Shinx.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad I get to finally join this family where half of my
Um,
friends came from.
please, we've been trying to get you for a second. But yeah, any final words for your fans?
Swan, if Blaze gets to the end with no jury vote, no eviction votes, I'm gonna vote against him so you can keep your perfect game. Heart hands. That's all.
Please.